This next comic taking the stage is the closest thing to a hero here. Guys, give it up for local legend and war participant, Eric Victor.
Thank you for that generous introduction, Owen. How are you guys all doing tonight? Woo! Yeah. It's a nice night. Yeah, so as Owen mentioned, I did participate in war. I was part of the original invasion of Iraq in 2003. And one thing you don't really ever know about wars is that there's actually, you undergo some kind of sensitivity training beforehand for the culture where you're going, because when you're kicking down doors, you don't want to be disrespectful when doing it. So one of the things that they talked about was that in Iraqi culture, giving people the thumbs up is the equivalent of giving them the middle finger, right? And so they don't want you going up to little kids and you think you're going all up to them like, hey, little buddy, everything's awesome. But in reality, those little kids are sitting there and they're going to be like, hey, little buddy, everything is fucking awesome, right? Because that's not how you really want to be perceived by the people that you're liberating. So, so what they told us was like give them the okay sign, right? So just be like, hey, it's okay. But I know in some cultures, this actually means asshole. So I didn't really feel comfortable going up to little kids and be like, all right, asshole, right? So I was like, you know what? Let's keep it neutral. I'm just gonna wave. So we're invading. We're driving through cities. I'm up on the gun turret and everything like that. We're like riding through the streets, and like there's Iraqis like on the sides, and we're like driving slowly. And I'm up in the turret, and I'm like waving, and it kind of just like turns into that like that royal like sarcastic wave. Right? So I'm kind of like this reverse homecoming like king, right? Who like for this parade where I'm up there, you like my helmet is like slightly tilted to the side, like I got my nice vest on and everything like that. And all of these like Iraqi children and women are just like running up next to the truck and they're like, Americans! I don't know how to take that. So, but it's funny, right? Like getting cultural sensitivity training before you go to war someplace. Because like, if you were to invade Boston, like what would the cultural sensitivity training be in that case? Like the way that you, when you're driving down the street, that you like say hello to people, just being like, fuck off, right? Got to work on that joke more. But right, and so I like Owen like talked about like that I'm the closest thing to a hero here, and I kind of want to dispel that myth a bit. So 2003 again, right? There's like the Battle of Baghdad. I'm like on the outskirts, hanging out with a few of my buddies, watching Black Hawk Down on DVD, right? I'm not participating in like the actual invasion. Like we're sitting there, we're watching Black Hawk Down. Like these two like special forces guys come up to us, and they're just like, hey, do you guys know where the combat hospital is? Which is kind of disrespectful, because we're like in the middle of watching Black Hawk Down. And it's like the helicopter crash scene, which is a pretty pivotal scene within that movie. And it like sets up everything else. And I'm like, I'm trying to watch this, but the hospital's over there. And so we were a little annoyed. And so they like leave. And then eventually like we had to shut down our little generator and move it and everything like that. So we didn't get to see the ending of the movie. Spoiler alert, they make it back to the camp. So we shut it down, and like me and a friend were like, okay, well we're bored because we're not doing anything during this war. So we just decided that we wanted to play chess. And so we just played chess while 5 miles away the Battle of Baghdad was happening. And I started developing a bit of this cough, and so I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go on over to this hospital, I'm gonna get myself some medicine. So I walk over to the hospital, I'm like, excuse me guys, I have a bit of a cough. And they're like, they put like the stethoscope on me, they're like, you have acute bronchitis. Here's some antibiotics. And I was like, thank you. So I almost died because of bronchitis.
A little war story about the time that I almost got killed by friendly fire. It's pretty hilarious. So get prepped. So this was in 2003. This was during the invasion. I don't know if you guys watched it on TV. Some people are 21. You were like 8 when all of that happened. So I don't know if you really remember it. There were a lot of these like really bad, sandstorms. And so during the first one, I was put on guard duty at night. And have you guys ever been in a room where like it's completely pitch black and you put your hand in front of your face and you can't see anything? Imagine doing that in a war zone. And that's what was going on with me. I never got issued any kind of real body armor. I never got issued night vision goggles. But Ramirez, the guy who I was on guard duty with, did. And so we're supposed to like roam through these trucks, and there's no way for me to see. He can barely see. He had night vision goggles. So we decided, well, you know what we're going to do is we're going to hold hands in this war zone on guard duty, and you're just going to guide me, completely useless, through all these trucks. So we're just like walking. I'm just basically blind and everything like that. We're walking. Eventually, we just like stop. We're like, this is fucking stupid. We can't see shit. And he's like, you know what we should do? We should get glow sticks and put these on the back of the trucks, so that way we can see the trucks and not get lost. And I was like, it's brilliant. So we go to our platoon sergeant's truck. We like knock on it, right? And then he just like wakes up super startled because, you know, it's a war. And so he's like, oh, what the fuck's going on? What the fuck's going on? We're like, relax, Sergeant Wade. We just need some chem lights. He's like, oh shit, I thought the shit was going down. We're like, no, we just need chem lights. It's fucking dark. He's like, all right. So he like digs through, he gives us some chem lights. So we're like, you know, chem lights in hand, we're walking off, holding hands, we're walking. All of a sudden, I just feel Ramirez, like his hand just lets go, like super violently. Like, you know, like you're holding hands, and someone's like, fuck you. It's like, let's go. Like, that's what happened. And I was like, fuck you too. And so the next thing that happened after that, have you guys ever like walked downstairs, and then you think you're at the bottom floor, and you take that next step, and then it's not, and you're just like, oh. Imagine doing that into a 4-foot hole. On top of another guy with a rifle poking inside of you and everything like that. Not very comfortable. So we're there, we're in this hole, both of us are moaning, and all of a sudden, we just hear, click, click. We just hear like a rifle charging, we're like, fuck. And then all the hell breaks loose. We just hear a whole bunch of who the fuck's down there? Who's down there? Who the fuck's down there? And I'm just like freaking the fuck out. And like Ramirez, he had to stutter sometimes, and that shit came out like full force. He was like, And so I'm there, laying right on top of him, and I'm just like, yo, I am not gonna die laying on top of another dude in a fucking hole in Iraq. And so I just yell out, probably like a little bitch, like, PFC Ramirez, oh, Private Victor! And they're like, who? PFC Ramirez, Private Victor! They're like, oh, I thought you were some fucking gas Iraqis. and so they like pull us out, and they're like, yeah, we're just like sitting here smoking cigarettes, and like right in front of us, like we're watching with NVG goggles, we see like two guys with rifles just holding hands, just walking right past us. And like one of them disappears, and then like another one, and we like walk over, and all of a sudden we just see them on top of each other. We're like, what the fuck is this shit? So, you know, so we almost got shot for holding hands. And the really funny thing is, I told this story to like some other Army people like later, and one of them pointed out to me, hey, why didn't you just hold his shoulder? I don't know. Sometimes you just have to hold hands. You know? Sometimes you just have to hold hands. The unit that I was with, a bunch of guys found this room that was just filled with like so many, like just like pallets of dollar bills, and they were like shrink wrapped. And yes, I know, Owen, it's insane. Yes, no, entire room filled with pallets of dollar bills, and it had like seals from like the Treasury Department in there, in Iraq. Don't know how it got there, whatever. But what they did is that there were like 10 of those pallets. They opened up one of them, took some of the money out, hid it behind a tree, and then reported the money. So that the person that's in charge came in and was like, hey, who took this very specific amount of money from this one pallet, left all the other pallets okay? And then eventually they got caught, and so we had to burn a bunch of the really cool war memorabilia that we had acquired. Because then the commander was like, hey, you know what? No one gets to take home curtains from Saddam Hussein's palace, which we had. Yeah, no, there was that. We found in one of the barracks that we were at, we found this like, we think it was an Iraqi general.
We think it was an Iraqi general because he had like pictures in there of like him just chilling with Saddam on like pillows, and like Saddam at his like daughter's wedding, and all of that is burned forever because 4 jackholes couldn't open up all the pallets and spread all the money all over a room. War stories. These are they're mostly true. Like, I'm not making most of this stuff up. Like, that stuff has actually happened. But right, I know, like, looking at me, like when I walked up here, you didn't really think of me as necessarily being a veteran because I don't look like Ryan Felipe or Mark Wahlberg. But I'm gonna let you guys in on a secret. Those guys are actors. They actually play people that look like a fitter version of me. So, and a much younger version. But while I was in the Army, you know, I joined straight out of high school, and the reason that I joined was for free college tuition, because I decided, you know what, I don't really want to go into debt. I'd much rather get shot at and possibly blown up. And it worked out in my favor at this point. So, and so for this bit, just imagine that I'm like a fiscally conservative Republican. And so I'm really happy that the free market is finally providing the veterans benefits that our veterans deserve, because they don't need that free health care and that PTSD counseling that you get at the VA. What they need are the free red, white, and blue pancakes from IHOP. Because if there's one thing that I know that helps traumatic brain injury, free lunch from Texas Roadhouse, guys. But only once a year, not every day, no. Once a year. It makes all those terrible, horrific dreams go away for 365 days magically when you go to Dunkin' Donuts and you get a free iced coffee 1 day a year. I just think that's ridiculous. But at least at Home Depot you get like 10% off every day of the year, so like bonus. But while I was in the Army, you know, I also gained a superpower, so I'm kind of like Captain America. It's not anything as totally cool as necessarily having super strength. I only lost my sense of smell, but I am able to use it for some pretty good uses. I can't smell shit, and so I volunteered all the time to do shit burning detail when you're in Iraq. Fun fact, I don't know if you guys know this, there aren't really very many places to go poop and have a sewage system, so you just burn all your feces. And I said, I'll do that, because I can't smell this. Like, you guys go out on convoys, you guys go out on patrols and like possibly get shot at. Like, I'll take the bullet here, and I'll burn the shit. I'll burn the shit for you guys. So, but like, I got out of the Army, right? And like, you know, once you have a superpower, and you like leave the military, you pretty much like switch sides. So I kind of started using it for evil a little bit. So, because that's naturally what happens. Like in every movie, like somebody leaves the military and they're like, I'm gonna go take over the world. But we, so now what happens is if like in my car with my friends and they know that I can't smell. So they're like, oh, I'm just gonna go fart like crazy. And so what I'll do, if I'm driving, is I'll just like roll up the window, put the child locks on, and then it'll just like stink up in there, and I'll be like, I can't smell anything, and they're just gonna act like it's The Rock and be like, oh God, So, but what's really nice about not being able to smell is it actually has opened up a completely new demographic of women for me to pursue. The hot, smelly ladies. Women who have some kind of, you know, body odor issue, not necessarily their fault. It can be genetic, but are very, very attractive. And then you know what? I'm that man for them. I'm that man. I will take that. Hot, smelly to some people, not me. Yeah, and so I haven't been completely truthful. There's like a few things that I can smell. One of them are peaches. And so I use that actually to my advantage. I'll use like peach mango or like peach cucumber body washes to wash myself with, so that I can then like, you know, essentially do like a smell check, see if I still smell like peaches. I'm still good. That didn't work. And stuff like that. But I think I'm gonna give it back to Owen right now. So hey, you guys have been a great crowd. You guys have been a great crowd. Owen.